Hi everyone and welcome to The Buzz. Along with the new season, new and exciting product lines have been introduced into our gift craft showroom. One of those new lines is called Florence. This is what I would refer to as a storyboard. Its purpose is to provide a story through images that will allow the viewer to get a better understanding as to what the theme is all about, the mood, the colors, the elements that make up the story. The line is pretty, feminine, and dainty. Delicate florals, birds, soft color palette reminds me of pretty and charming summer cottage theme. Your display space holds a promise of becoming the pretty cottage look that you love. So whether you designate a large area to this style or a small nook, it's easier than ever to bring your favorite cottage look to your customers. Today's version of cottage style features soft furnishings with lots of vintage character. It can also be personified in more specific styles such as beach rustic or feminine. The feminine approach has been taken here. I love this look because of the appearance of being collected over time. This look has a sweet and charming appeal, and I would say that two other words that describe this style of home decor are casual and comfortable. Let's take a closer look. There are very traditional elements as well as contemporary in this line. When creating your cottage look displays, try to think traditional dressed up elements, down home comforts. Whether it's a bedroom vignette or a small living space that you are creating in the showroom, all of these items will fit in beautifully. Color is key when creating a cottage room. Use soft pastel colors for walls and furnishings. An easy way to go about choosing a paint color is to take a look at one item in the line, get a hold of your paint deck and look through it to find a color that complements that particular item. Then take that small swatch and make sure it works with everything else. Or better yet, how about I save you some time and tell you that the color used here is called Bluegrass from Benjamin Moore CC640. Certain textures also add cottage character. Consider beadboard, woven fabrics, and warm finishes for your cottage decor. This color does have a vintage quality about it and works beautifully with the product. When working with pastel color, make sure to balance those colors with liberal splashes of white. It will add a crispness to the entire display. Vintage furnishings often come with weathered and worn painted finishes. Preserve the look by thinking twice before repainting or refinishing. This old chair is full of interesting detail. Distressed white finishes act as instant equalizers in this display, making a hefty table, vintage chair, the cabinetry, and a soft gray toned chandelier coexist harmoniously. Worn paint suits cottage furniture. If you have some existing pieces in your store, paint up the furniture and rough it up with a little sandpaper for a time-worn finish. The color scheme in this vignette is crisped up by adding a white vintage chair, an elegantly scrolled table, and simple country nesting tables. All have a gently used and aged appearance. You will find that vintage pieces, either repurposed or used as is, are at home in this cottage style decor. If you're thinking about adding a piece of existing furniture and it looks a little utilitarian, add some interesting knobs. Adding glass or crystal knobs freshen up a dated sideboard. Look for new or vintage knobs at flea markets and garage sales. Romantic chandeliers add charm to any display. Small doses of sparkling crystal give a cottage room a bit of vintage glamour. You can add crystals and a lampshade to an existing light fixture. In Q, we have a beautiful selection of chandeliers that would also complement this vignette. Play with the height of the chandelier when you are placing it above a vignette. Experiment with the lower placement. This creates a welcoming and intimate setting. Adding a floral print is a perfect way to give any space a garden cottage style. Pretty printed fabrics in soft colors cozy up any vignette. Cushions and drapery, if you choose to add some, would give this display a boost of vintage cottage style. Perhaps placing a floral cloth on a display surface might just be what is required to add that little something extra for the set. If you have chairs in which the seat can be removed, consider recovering the seat with a floral print. There are many floral prints in your favorite fabric shop. They're all dainty, pretty, some are vintage, and some have a real modern take. One sure sign of a cottage room is a handful of fresh flowers arranged loosely in a white ceramic pitcher. We have a lovely selection of everlasting flowers that you could incorporate into this theme. Select flowers that might grow in the cottage garden, such as lilacs, roses, and daisies. Creating a vintage style floral arrangement is also an option. Not too overwhelming, but just something that is complementary to the entire vignette. Here are some examples of little additions that will add more charm to your displays. Nicely used books, same color story, white, blue, etc. Throws or quilts. Old bird cages painted. Add a small floral arrangement inside. Add floral to some of the empty vases. Petals sitting on the table from florals used in the vase. Create height by stacking smaller nesting tables on top of a large table. Create more height by adding a lamp or canvas art on the second table. Group the pottery together. Birds always make a presence when they are also grouped together. Use table easels to display canvas art. Think in terms of display patterns to create a display that flows. Use the books as risers and make sure that the book covers blend into the color story. You might have to get some coordinating scrapbooking paper to cover them up. I like to create a composition before I place it on the wall. I lay out the canvases and other items being displayed on the floor. I can make changes easily until I am pleased with the presentation. The nice thing is there are fewer holes on the wall. Create groupings of items. When it all blends in, it looks messy with no purpose. Add dimension to walls. Don't just use flat wall product. Bird cages and wall sconces will create depth and add lots of interest. When displaying the plate wall hangers, make sure to add plates. Some vintage petite floral patterns would look wonderful. Showing a small grouping on the table is a great idea. A little focal point is created within the area. When adding garden touches, whether it's a pretty printed floral cushion or a vase of fresh cut flowers, nature's beauty is a common theme in cottage-style rooms. Cottage style is easy to achieve in your store. Simply layer your vignette with found furniture and incorporate vintage touches and motifs from nature. This casual approach to decorating is one that allows you to pull together rooms filled with cottage-style character and comfort. Until the next buzz, happy displaying.